So with that complete, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to the face. This is the most fundamental area. As I said in the other DVDs, I like to paint the face first to set the character. It's also important with sculpting, I think. Get the character set. Once you've got the face and you're happy with the face, the rest will literally just fall together, because you'll know exactly how you want it to look. So I've mixed up the green stuff. I'm just going to apply it to the face. Just blow it on. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spread this over the entire head area. Now it will obscure most of the details that we've carved in. It's a good idea to remember where those details are approximately. That's why we've done the features slightly oversized. It just comes with practice, you know. It's one of them things that you'll learn to do better and better as you do it. By no means do I think a sculptor is born. You can learn to sculpt, there's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, I started a good 15 years ago sculpting, and I was really rubbish when I first started it. And now I'm sculpting for a few different companies, and they're slowly but surely going into production. And so really, practice makes perfect. I know it's an old saying, but it's very true. So we're going to throw this now right over the top of the head too. You'll notice how I'm using the clay shaper. I'm stroking it little bits at a time. I'm not spreading it on with a knife or anything like that. There's no way you can get a smooth finish with the knife. It'll just be lumpy. It'll have grooves in it and stuff like that. You'll also get bits, dried up bits coming off the knife if you're using an old blade. It's not a good idea. I use one of these, that way you're guaranteed that the putty won't stick to the tool. You can of course keep wetting your tools, but one of the natural properties of these clay shapers is it really doesn't stick very well to green stuff, so it's ideal for moving it about. So we've got the basic head shape there. Just smooth that off at the back roughly. And so what we do now is we level up the face, keeping the face directly pointing towards you. You know, you can position the head at a later stage, but as long as we keep everything fairly symmetrical, it'll be fine. So we've got smooth area to the back. You can of course sand the back of the head when it's dry if you want to. If you're struggling getting a nice even smooth surface, feel free to sand it. Of course, if you're going to put a helmet on, it's not going to make much difference, or a hat, or even hair. You can do quite big hair if you like. Depends on what sort of figure you want to create. But the purpose of this, first off, is I want to show you how I create a face. Now I'm just wetting the tool as I go along, just to make sure that it doesn't stick. So we're pulling that green stuff down now into a point to form the face. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to press in with my X-Acto blade roughly where the mouth's going to be, so about there. Just roughly gauge it. Not everybody's the same. There's no hard and fast rules of where to place it. I've got the round tipped knot clay shaper. I'm going to push in roughly where we had the eyes. You'll see that actually forms in quite easily because there's quite a big dimple under there. That's the fundamentals to a face. What you've got to do now is we use the flat, and this time I'm going to start stroking the inside of the eye socket, and the same on the other side. That's going to form our cheekbones. We can press that in quite heavily there. And you can see the jaw actually looks quite long at this stage. That's mainly loose putty. So what we're going to do is I'm going to push that up each corner, so we're forming kind of a V shape. This is going to help us to create the squared off jaw look. Quite a strong jawline is ideal for male figures. If you were doing a female figure, you'd want quite a light jawline, quite a pointy face. I like to make figures look very characterful. It's always nice to paint a characterful figure. Companies will always want a characterful figure, particularly if you're working within their guidelines. A lot of them will grant you quite a lot of artistic license, and on the other hand, you could be working from quite a set concept drawing, but at the end of the day, it's not going to come out exactly the same. This is a hand-created piece, remember. No two pieces will ever be the same, not unless you were to use stock cast parts. So we're pulling that up there. As you can see, we're forming the face. I'm going to flatten down that front nose section, and all you have to do is just keep working the jaw. Now you'll see the split that we cut in for the mouth is still there. That will remain there as long as you used a little bit of lubrication on the tool as you pressed it in. That's now going to form our lower lip. So I'm going to use the tip of this tool, just remarking where the mouth was, and I'm going to push upwards and along the bottom. It's going to look quite big to start with. It's going to be impossible to work with tiny pieces as you go along. So make things a bit oversized. As you can see there, that's going to form our chin, this area here, and that area that I've just pressed in there will form our lower lip. This has got a lot of a way to go yet, so we just have to keep working it, keep pulling that jaw in, keep tucking that chin up. Now what you can actually do is you can start rounding the chin. And as you can see there, that lip doesn't look quite as big as it did before because you're actually squashing the putty back together again. I'm going to rework the same sort of thing. This time I'm going to add corners to the mouth. Just a single press in. That's all you need. I'm going to press upwards again into that lip. Makes it a bit smaller still. Sculpting is 90% repetition. You just have to keep eyeing up the piece, seeing what you think needs to be where, and pushing the putty slowly and gently, small proportions at a time, into an area that you think would suit your purposes best. So there's the basics of the mouth. That's pretty much done now. That's about as good as it's going to get at this stage.